Where should I invest so that there is good growth and my money is safe, and also I can take out whatever I need without a penalty? And go. Welcome to the NZ Guide to Financial Freedom podcast. It's run by the co-founders of a free online learning platform called moneyskills.co.nz, and it has the sole mission of providing every New Zealander the opportunity to live a more fulfilling life. So let's kick into it. Cool. Ready?
Yeah, good.
Pumped? Yeah?
No, it's a Monday.
It's a Monday, yeah.
Mondays
are pretty...
I've been an action all weekend with my chainsaw.
Have you? Yeah, tell the viewer.
Sorting out my chooks.
Yeah.
Not with a chainsaw, though.
No? Well, yeah. Is it true that if you chop their head off, they keep running for a period of time?
Apparently, but I don't kill my hens, so I don't know. I have no experience on that.
Do you know who the top dog is? Because they have a pecking order as well.
Oh, the one that pecked my hand as I was trying to take her eggs. There's one sitting on about 30 eggs at the moment, and I was helping myself to a couple of dozen for an order, and it's going, peck.
Jeez.
I think that's the aggressive one.
Do you pick them back? Like, how do you assert dominance in the hierarchy of the chickens?
I don't think they have got a brain to do that.
Well, they have. That's the whole, the concept pecking order.
Yeah.
It comes from chickens.
Chickens, yeah, they peck.
So if you dress up in a chicken suit and you start pecking them...
Yeah, they'll all be subservient.
All right, well, yeah, we've done our...
No luck with women, but a lot of luck with chickens.
Yeah, you're good with hens, mate. You're good with hen night every night.
Hen night every night.
Yeah. All right, well, we've got a question here. It's quick fire finance. I am over 65. I've continued my KiwiSaver account in ANZ's Balanced Growth Fund. I placed nearly 150,000 in it. That's quite a lot, in fairness. What's the average? 30, around that? Maybe 20.
It's 150,000 in total?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. During the last 2 to 3 months, it is not showing any growth. My intention is to grow the money and not use it for income, as I have other sources of income currently. Where should I invest so that there is good growth and my money is safe, and also I can take out whatever I need without a penalty? And go.
It's a good question and raises lots of issues. That 65 means that they're getting New Zealand super. That gives them at least, if they're living alone, 22,000 net per annum. If they're in a relationship, it might drop down to about 17, 18. The fact that the person's still working is good, because I don't think 65 is an age of retirement. It's just the age you get the pension. If you're still working, perhaps you don't work quite so hard as you did in the past. It's an opportunity to retread, to do things that you've always wanted to do. It's not necessarily about the money, hopefully, at that stage. Hopefully you would be debt-free. And you presume that this person would be, otherwise they would have taken the KiwiSaver out to repay the mortgage, because that would be a sensible thing to do. But it's about, when you're looking at this particular question, what immediately comes to mind is two things. One, there is no plan. What is this person's plan for the future? Yes, I've got 150,000 in a balanced fund. Now, a balanced fund will either be 60% growth, 40% income, or 50-50. Or it could be 40% growth, 60%. It's in that range, 60-40, either way.
They've got a balanced growth fund.
Oh, it's a balanced growth fund.
Yeah,
oh, well,
so
there you go. What's it? Either
maybe
the balance
70-30?
No, I don't know. No, maybe then if it's a balanced growth fund, it has to be 60% growth and 40% income.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because if it was 70, it's not balanced. In fact, it's actually more like a medium growth fund, not a balanced growth fund. It's all semantics, isn't it? But so, where is the plan? The thing that's really important to this person and to any of our listeners, if you're in this situation or you're going to be in this situation, is you need to have a really good idea of what the cost of your preferred lifestyle is. Not your, survival lifestyle, not, I live with the stars lifestyle. It's your preferred lifestyle, which, funny enough, is probably pretty close to what you're spending now, give or take, because we become creatures of habit. You know, if you like salmon once a week, that's fantastic. You don't generally want it every day. So we become creatures of habit. If you like going out to restaurants, you'll go to a certain type of restaurant that you feel comfortable with. You don't necessarily go to the most expensive Italian, Thai, Vietnamese restaurant in the city or in the country. So we become creatures of habit. So the thing that is absolutely essential for everyone, whether they're working or retired, is to actually understand what the cost of your preferred lifestyle is in dollar terms, and then start thinking about where's the money going to come from to fund it. During a working life, it's generally quite easy because you can't spend more than what you earn. If you do, you're going to be broke. I think Winston Churchill is reputed to have spent money before he earned it, but most people can't do that. So basically, your lifestyle will be determined by your income, and that's what you become used to. We're creatures of habit. So for someone who's had a movie star income, suddenly to find that that income's not there anymore would be devastating, because suddenly they can't do the things they've never done. Similarly, people who have had low incomes are in a much better position because they can adjust from employment to non-employment to retirement, because New Zealand super for a married couple, what's that? 33,000. It's not a lot, but if they've got a debt-free home, it's enough to exist on. Not enough to live on, in my view, but enough to exist on. And it wouldn't be necessarily your preferred lifestyle unless you're used to that lifestyle. So the plan is absolutely pivotal, that you need to know, and he needs to know, and if I was his advisor, I'd want to know how much money do you need to fund your lifestyle.
You're assuming a he there, mate.
He or she. I don't he, she, I don't know.
Gender,
I think women are more sensible, but there you go.
Okay, is that why? So this one's unsensible, so
I don't know.
Good
Who
save.
knows?
I like it.
Who knows? But he or she should have a plan, should know what the cost of their preferred lifestyle is, and then you look at it. So if they came to me and said, I've got $150,000, I'm 65, I'm single, so I'm getting 22,000. I'd say 150,000 could quite comfortably give you at least another 9,000 based on 6% drawdown. So that would give you what, 31. That's not a lot. 2,500 plus per month is, you're able to get along, but you're not going to be able to do much travel or entertainment with that. You're going to probably need more like, in today's dollar terms, $42,000 to do that, $3,500 a month. So there's a bit of a shortfall there of about $1,000 a month plus. So if there was a plan, you would be able to say, well, you're working, but how long are you going to work for? It means an opportunity to increase your savings, whether you use KiwiSaver as a means of doing it, because you might be lucky enough for your employer to continue. I've seen that happen. Continue contributing. They're great employers. But you won't get the government subsidy, of course, as that finishes at 65. And, you could build that 150,000 up so that it actually picks up another $20,000 per annum on top of the 22 to fund your preferred lifestyle. What will you need for that? You need about $300,000. The figure reduces as you get older because you're going to be absolutely certain to live less without an income the longer you work. It's like gravity, isn't it? If you work to the day you died, you don't need an investment portfolio.
No.
Because you'll live to your income. You need an investment portfolio because you're not going to work till the day you die. So you need to bridge the gap. How big's the gap? The longer you work, the smaller the gap. Those who retire in their 50s, that's a big call. But you're going to live a long time without an income, so you're going to need a lot more money. So the 6% rule that I use which means your money lasts effectively 25 to 30 years, depending on whether it's inflation adjusted. The drawdowns is fine, but it won't work if you're 50, because you better be dead by 80, because otherwise you'll be dead broke. So, that's where the plan comes in, and each plan, of course, is tailored to the individual. So my first point was no plan. What do you think my second point is?
Not sure how much your lifestyle costs.
Well, no, we talked about that. That's in the plan. My second point is no advisor.
Okay. All right,
so
very cool.
If you've got the old DIY, do-it-yourself mentality is that New Zealanders are famous for, is that the number 8 wire mentality? We'll just kind of string it together. You're probably not going to get the outcome that you really want. If do-it-yourself was so good, you tell me why most people, as they're heading in retirement, are broke. They haven't got enough money to fund their preferred lifestyle. Hopefully they're debt-free in a house. If that house is in Waikakamukau, it's probably not going to give you much equity to draw on. If the house is in one of the leafy suburbs of Auckland, they're all leafy unless the council gets its way and builds concrete blocks everywhere. But that's another issue. In the leafy suburbs of Auckland, where it used to rain a lot, but not now, that you will have enough equity probably to bridge the gap in retirement using people like Heartland as a way of equity release from your home. Now that requires a mindset that many people don't have, and you better not have avarice children, because they won't like that very much, because they're not going to inherit quite so much. That could be another discussion on another day, and you'll get my view on that, which you may or may not appreciate, depending on who you are. But that's where the planning comes in, and that's where your advisor comes in to give you the coaching. So an advisor is like a financial coach that says to you, based on what you want and looking at your resources, this is the preferred course of action. So in answer to the person's question here, is a balanced growth fund the right fund? I would think so. Why? Because they're still working and they don't need to draw on it. Would I be worried that it hasn't performed much in the last period of time? No. It's a medium to long-term gain. If you want to invest for a month, 6 months, or even a year, just leave the money in the bank. Don't worry about the interest rate, because it's always the return of your money which is more important than the return on it in the short term, particularly. But if you're 65, which I believe is young, if you're still working and you don't need that money, you can let it compound. A balanced growth fund is probably a route right. I wouldn't put it in a more aggressive fund, because, what is your time horizon? It's probably 3 to 5 years at the outset that you're going to need to withdraw. And maybe you should, in fact, be in a more conservative fund. Again, it depends on your risk tolerance, which if you had an advisor, that advisor would be at pains to determine, because they don't really want to get it wrong. And whilst everyone is happy with performance on the way up, it's really your reaction to performance on the way down that determines your risk profile. You've got it with a bank, you've got it with ANZ. ANZ are a good bank. They're like all the other banks. They're pretty safe and secure, and when you want your money, they'll pay out. And if they cock up, they'll pay out. So I don't have a problem with the banks. You're using KiwiSaver because you can, with the change in government legislation, and that's not a bad vehicle to use, because it has low fees and that's going to attract people, but you don't have an advisor, and that's going to be your point of difference. By all means, use KiwiSaver as a means of investing, but you need to pay an advisor to give you advice, because you clearly need it. And that advisor will pay for themselves time and time again by giving you the confidence to do all the things you want to do, to ensure you don't run out of money before you run out of life. And remember, life's not a rehearsal.
Yeah. Well, you might. So you got these generational people. I want to do it myself. Why can't I just get a balanced or growth fund myself? Because you might. What's the side pieces of a financial plan? Like, so this person, we're working out their income and where how they're going to fund that. What's
and their risk tolerance.
And their risk tolerance. What would be some other things you might look at, and like an example of this person, whether it's structure or insurance or estate planning?
We talk about income. It's actually their expenditure. It's how much do they spend, and have they got enough resources to do that? And do they need to tweak their risk profile? And do they need to use other resources? It could be selling a batch. It could be selling collectibles. It could be using the equity in their home. Should they think about moving out to a more rural background? Now that we're all Aucklanders here. I apologise for that for those who don't like Aucklanders, but we've done our time over 106 days lockdown for the rest of you people. There'll be people in Auckland who will be very keen not to be locked down again, and they're looking at the opportunity while the market's running hot to free up equity out of their home to move down to wonderful places like Waihi Beach or the Bay of Plenty. Oops, I think everyone's already gone there. The prices are up. But there'll be lots of places in New Zealand where the prices are not at the lofty heights of Auckland, and you get more bang for your buck, and you can free up some money and enjoy your lifestyle. It might be in Taranaki, it might be in the north of the South Island. There's lots of fantastic places. Central Otago you could go to if you're not wedded to the metropolis. So again, it's the coaching role that the financial planner can give to listen to what's important about money to you, what your values and goals are around a particular vision. The vision of, if you could live anywhere that you wanted to, where would that be? If you could do anything that you wanted to, what would that be? That's your vision. Your values are your attitude towards money, and your goals are the nuts and bolts, the dollars. How much money do you need month in, month out to maintain your preferred lifestyle? By 65, risk management, debt management, they're not important anymore. Succession planning will be, so getting your affairs in order. Do you have a will? Do you have enduring powers of attorney? Do you need a family trust or not? Everyone's a bit different, and that's, again, something a good advisor can pull together. And if they don't know the answer themselves, they should be able to refer you to someone who does.
All right, well played. All right, I enjoyed that. Another instalment from Mr. Moyle. Major Greg Moore. Is that Retired Major Greg Moore. Thanks for that. And if anyone saw that,
that's the New Zealand Army, not the Salvation Army. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, well, you might get there, might volunteer at 80. Would you? Are you going to volunteer? What would you do at like 85 if you're like, had enough of this financial planning, I'm going to go do talks for kids or...
Well, I do that now. I do financial literacy at Mount Albert Grammar, so I do that now. I don't think that I'll be rushing into stopping some form of work, whether it's paid or unpaid.
Yeah, I can't see you stopping ever, actually. No. All right, well, we heard it here first, and if you thought it was valuable, or even if you didn't, give us a review and tell us why, and we'll read it out in the podcast, get a bit of fame. It just means more people can learn about it. So thank you, Greg.
My pleasure.
Retired Major.